Hello and good morning from Channel 6 News. Today I will be interviewing various people around the world who have been impacted by COVID-19. These stories will give us an insight into the ways human beings react emotionally when fear overpowers their actions and instincts due to a worldwide pandemic. Our first story will be told from the north-southeast Edensville, Saskatchewan, told by the pig farmers Mr. and Mrs. Dairy. Mr. and Mrs. Dairy have significantly been impacted by the virus from a worker's perspective, with the fear that they will run out of business. What was your first reaction when you found out about the virus?
Well, I wasn't too worried. North-southwest Edensville is a pretty small town, so isolating didn't bother me none. In fact, I haven't seen my neighbors in 2 years.
Are you worried about the future and your job?
Not at first. People always need food, and bacon is the best kind of food, but well, what I didn't think about was that, in those economists say, it's not demand, it's supply.
Please could you elaborate a little more?
What I'm saying is that people wanted our pork, but we couldn't feed our pigs because we always got our pig chow from leftovers at the town's buffet. Unfortunately, since the buffet's closed, we had no pig food. So we let our neighbors know that we're gonna pick up their compost, and since then it's been pretty good being able to feed the pigs with that and keep making some more pork. Well, people love our pork, so
Next we're interviewing Gary Winthrop, a medical worker based in Italy. He is going to give us an insight on how the hospitals are dealing with the sudden spike in patients due to COVID-19. Did the virus have an impact on your family and your community?
Being from Toronto, I wanted to help the relief efforts in Italy. My wife and I are both doctors, and we've traveled here together to make a change.
So what made you choose Italy?
We did a lot of research, and we saw on the news that Italy was getting hit hard by the virus.
How do you feel about those who deny the existence of the virus and protest against isolation?
I personally don't understand the need for the protest. The best thing we can do right now is to stay 6 feet apart and social distance. I almost find it disrespectful as a frontline worker that these people are going against what we are saying.
So tell us, how are the hospitals dealing with the sudden spike of patients due to COVID-19?
In Italy, the outbreak is the worst right now because they did not take it seriously at the beginning. Another problem we are having here is that there are not enough beds for all the sick patients. This makes it hard for us, doctors, to do our jobs because we don't have the right tools.
Well, thank you for taking the time to talk with us, and thank you for your amazing work on the front lines.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I just want to thank all the frontline healthcare workers that are doing their jobs. I also want to thank everybody else that's showing support, whether it be banging pots and pans at 7 o'clock, making us masks, or just sending helpful tweets online. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure everyone else does too.
Next, we have Norman Friedweather, a protest sympathizer located in Orange County, Montana, USA. He'll be speaking about the two sides to the protests and the mistrust within the government. So Norman, did you trust the government?
I trust that they were right about isolation, but aside from that, no, I don't trust them.
How do you feel about the protests, and have you ever considered joining one?
I never thought about joining them since, as I said before, isolation was definitely the right move. But I definitely think the United States government made an unconstitutional, rights-violating choice by making isolation mandatory.
Did the disorder in the government change people to become less innocent?
Well, I feel like the disorder of the government from this event has caused people to take the red pill and wake up to the general disorder of the government.
Now I'll check in with Guy Riggington from Alberta. Guy works in the oil industry. COVID-19 has taken a significant toll on his job and the economy in Alberta. What does the economy look like right now in your province?
The economy in Alberta is messed up right now. No one in the country is using gas, or at least not as much as usual, and it doesn't take a genius to figure out why that might be a problem for us. We can't sell, and so all energy companies are seriously struggling to stay up right now.
What does this mean for all the employees?
Well, that means there's no cash flow, so people are being laid off because there's no demand. So many people have been forced out of a job and pretty much left on their own. But that's not right. Alberta has supplied $600 billion to the rest of Canada over the past 5 decades. The government needs to give us the support we deserve as a province and as Canadians who have been vital to our country's economy.
How will this impact your family and community and your day-to-day life?
Well, luckily I'm still employed, but so many of my guys have been laid off and they are struggling. My day-to-day life is the same as everyone's, basically nothing too exciting. I go to work and that's just enough to put food on the table for my family. As for my guys, they're barely scraping by. The government's saying the economy is at its worst in a while, but that Alberta will rebound when it's all over pretty well. We'll see how that goes, I guess.
Well, thank you for listening to Channel 6 News, and be sure to stay tuned for our next update.